Hey everybody, I've realized that I got to do a little bit better job of talking about the brochures and such that you can get at some of these historic places that I'm going to do my hikes at. Cahaba being one of those places where they've got a really nice brochure. Talks about a couple of things that you'll find there at the historic site. And then on the inside, when you open it up, is a big map. This particular one is all how the streets were laid out back when the city was actually there. And then they've got some things marked out on there of interest that you may want to check out. One of them being the nature trail. So take a second, go in. You got to pay to get into this site, anyways. It's like $2. So go ahead and pay your $2. Pick up your map, and then go ahead and go for it. Hey everybody, it's the Biker Hiker. We're here at Old Cahaba, which is on the other side of Selma. Old Cahaba was the first capital of Alabama. It also has a Civil War prison site that held Union prisoners. Um, there are also some foundations of what was left of buildings here at the city. I have just got here, so I haven't really walked around and checked anything out. Supposedly there's a site where Generals Forrest and Wilson met after the Battle of Selma to exchange prisoners and have cigars and I guess just talk about the war in general. Although the stories you hear about Forrest or anywhere close to being true, it's probably a pretty short conversation. But anyway, so the Battle of Selma took place very, very near the end of the war, April 6th, 7th of 1865, and Lee surrendered on the 9th, and Johnson, I think it was later in April up in Bentonville, North Carolina, and that pretty much took care of the war. Um, the building behind me is the cathedral here at Old Cahaba. It was built in 1854. It was moved away from the site in 1887, and then it was relocated back to the site in 2006, but put on a higher foundation because we were very near the Alabama River, and so they raised it up to prevent any sort of damage from flooding and whatnot that occurs at any given time. So we're going to walk around. They got a little half-mile hiking trail here, and we'll see what all that holds. Well, I'm not exactly sure if this is it or not. It has electricity running to it, but on their map, right behind the cathedral, they show a marking for an artesian well that flowed all the way up till the 90s when, according to their brochure, it just mysteriously went dry. There's no signs marking this as the actual artesian well, but looks as good a place as any to me. All right, first little trail marker here. We've actually, we back up a little bit, we've come to a little intersection here. Benches, I've passed several of these already. You notice this trail is all concrete. So far, I have not went off the concrete except to go up to the little artesian well thing. But there you are, go this way. Get down here. And we've got our choice. Nature trail and canoe launch. So I guess listen, there's a sign here about the lower Cahaba River. And they're just talking about some sort of artesian well. But for now, we're just going to stay on the nature trail. All right, well, that didn't take long. We went through this little loop and right back here to our finger pointer telling us out that way. However, if you remember, there was the canoe launch. Let's go check that rascal out. Okay, so it looks like the concrete ends right here, but even with that, this trail is super wide. You've got to try to get yourself off the trail so far. So I'm just thoroughly impressed. All right, so we had to climb over one little tree and come past this little bushy one here. And here's concrete again. So maybe it's just all concrete with the leaves down on it where these trees are down. But here we are. The canoe put in. And some branches hanging down, but easily to walk around. on down to the river. Where exactly you would go canoeing at on this stuff, I don't know. But there's your put-in point if you want to drag your canoe down here. Well, as you can see, we've made it back up to the cathedral. The nature trail itself, if you do just that, was right at half a mile. And if you go down to the canoe put-in area, down there and back, everything was, it said 0.9 miles. So it is cement sidewalk the entire way, except for that one little stretch that I pointed out down to the canoe put-in. So, the only drawback to this place is it's a ways out here. It's about 80 miles from my house, and you got to go on the other side of Selma, like I said in the opening. But if bring Mama and Papa out here, if they're in their scooters, you got little babies, put them in their strollers. You cannot ask for a better hiking path. I do ask though, and I'm sure the park does as well, that if you bring your dogs out, they're going to need to be kept on their leash here, and bring some bags with you, because if they poo on the trail, please pick it up. I don't necessarily have a problem with that on those that are out and it's a dirt path through the woods, but like I said, this is all sidewalk, so please don't leave your dog poo on the trails. But we're going to go inside. I didn't know that the cathedral was open until those folks behind me just went in there. So I'm going to go and take some pictures, and we'll tour the town, and I'll add some pictures of this neat little park. That's not a state park. It's a part of the Alabama Historical Commission. But I'll put some pictures of kind of neat things on the park at the tail end of the video. So we'll see you next time. Well, that was really it. You're probably saying to yourself, he didn't point out, problem areas or neat things to see, and really because it was sidewalk the entire way, there was nothing bad about this trail at all. And there was really not much to see other than the one little out place that had the sign for the black belt birds or whatever they called it, and overlooked what ended up being the canoe put-in point. Other than that, the only thing of interest was these 4x4 posts that had little number signs on them. And I didn't know what that was at first because I did not see the Clear Creek Self-Guiding Nature Trail brochure at the beginning of the hiking trail there. So if that's your thing, grab one of those. It has everything listed on there, what you're looking at according to the numbered posts. It was pretty interesting. There was a couple little reminiscences from past residents and that kind of thing. So it was worth picking up and reading through. Well, everyone, that is the official review of the hiking trail here at Old Cahaba. If that's all that you were here to see, then I really, really do appreciate you watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe, all that good junk for YouTube, and we'll catch you guys on the next video. But if you wanted to hang out with me and see some of the neat little things that are still down there at Old Cahaba, then come on with me. We'll head downtown and we'll check some of these sites out. So I guess it's maybe going to be easier just to do videos of some of these places. But here it is. Judging from the podium up here, I guess they have little presentations from time to time. Amazing. Those rafters. I'm a sucker for old architecture and stuff. It's just today's buildings just are not really built to last like these old buildings were. I wonder if they had stained glass in these windows at one time. But the craftsmanship that goes into these things, I mean, not only was it structurally sound, but look, they even went and they put these little knobby things on each of the rafters just to give it a little bit of character and pride. Look way up here. Like I said, things that you just don't necessarily see with today's buildings. They're definitely built to last, which is why it's been standing for, what, 170 years? Well done. I'm going to assume this is kind of a normal thing throughout the park, but here's the park brochure, and I guess we're actually kind of facing this way. But I come over here and I see these little stone pillars, and all the streets are marked out on this map, and so Capitol Street runs this way, and Beach Street ran that way. So like I said, I'm going to assume they got these at pretty much every crossroads, or maybe just the major ones. It really kind of helps out if you got this map and looking to see where you're at. Too cool. Okay, I'm kind of finding some humor in this. The downtown area, there was rush hour traffic, I guess. Here's another one, but I'm walking these streets, and I'm finding it just very hard to kind of visualize it at one time. This was a sprawling little town, you know, our capital. I mean, give it its due respect. The lady at the visitor center, when I asked her about walking the streets and all that kind of thing, she said, well, if you do that, it's about 4 miles worth of the roads that they've got marked off. Burial grounds and cemeteries. Just amazing to come out here and try to comprehend that this was one time a major town, I guess, or what would be considered a good sized town anyways. All right, everybody, here we are, downtown Cahaba. And see, the sign says Alabama's first state house, and what they've started doing is building these ghost structures that give you an idea of what the buildings look like. And I think that's a great thing. I've been over to the Tuskegee Airfield, and they've done the same thing over there with several buildings. I mean, my true absolute wish would be to be able to go and actually rebuild all these old buildings, but the amount of money that would take would just be enormous. But I think it would be money well spent. So, but here it is, downtown. Ah, here we go. The MARTA. Folks, this is a great little park. Not only did we come to the first state house right down there, that little ghost structure, but we have come down to the Civil War prison site known as Castle Morgan. Held Union prisoners, and they all boarded a steamship, the Sultana, except for this poor fellow right here, unknown U.S. soldier right there. But through all the brambles and everything here, if you guys can really see it, but that is the Alabama River. And the Sultana steamed up towards Memphis, where it blew up and killed many, many soldiers. I guess all after the war had ended. But other than motorcycles and hiking, my main interest is history, and in particular Civil War history. So this is kind of a neat little place to come down to. It's a little bit somber. You know, prisons were not great places for either side. Andersonville gets picked on all the time for being notorious and harsh and all that, but you know, there were bad prisons both north and south, and well, I guess that was just something that happened. But anyways, come on down to this park. This is a great place. You all need to come. It's where the Cahaba flows into the Alabama River. This is where Generals Forrest and Wilson met up after the Battle of Selma, had their little talk and exchanged prisoners and all that kind of good thing. According to the little sign over there, that happened on April 8th because they said the war ended the next day when Lee surrendered, which was April 9th, 1865. The sign on the other end of this deeper hole here said that this was actually a basement for a row, which some guys from Staten Island came down and built a shopping center. Basically, it had several little shops in here and had a basement and 2 stories, and that's where that was. And then I guess the house was on the end of that. If you hung with me for the extra 7 or 8 minutes, I really, really appreciate it. I hope you learned a little something and that you enjoyed that part of the video. But don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe for all the YouTube junk, and we'll catch you on the next video. Until then, this is the Biker Hiker. Hike safe, ride safe. Peace out.